Hello, everyone. Welcome to What Would Dorcy Do Friday. We are diving into step number 6 of the Reconnect program. Today, we're going to talk about building trust with your alienated children. And this lesson is called the Trust Architect. So I'm going to give you a high level of this step number 6. So if you haven't downloaded our previous cheat sheets, make sure that you connect with us by posting a comment cheat sheet in the or roadmap in the comments, and somebody on my team will connect with you. And if you've already downloaded the previous lessons, congratulations. We are building these out in guides here in the Alliance, so just make sure that you check those out and watch the previous videos if you haven't done so. So let's go ahead and dive in. Today, we're going to be talking about how to lay the foundation of trust that really improves your relationship with your alienated child, and really having a deeper understanding of why this is important, and that you can build trust without needing to fix everything all by yourself or all at one time. And you can build trust and let go of that limiting belief that children will never want to reconnect with you or that they don't love you. And also shifting those limiting beliefs of unworthiness, of a belief that maybe deep down you don't believe you deserve to have a relationship with your children. And we see these things very commonly at the Conscious Co-Parenting Institute. And I want to talk to you today about how to build a foundation of trust. And you know you're in the right place. And I want to underscore that this strategy really reflects the exact system or one of the steps in the system that we use with alienated parents in helping them shift quickly and predictably, lay a foundation of trust so that they can achieve reunification with their alienated children. So in short, this is what's working right now, and what the parents that we work with are doing, the parents that are reuniting with their children. These are the things that they're implementing. So you might be aware that trying to lay a foundation of trust and ultimately reunite with your alienated children can be a major problem, especially for those of you that have been on the battlefield for a long time. And this is a common issue we see worldwide. And just about every day, I hear the same questions from parents trying to reunite. They're asking, how do I lay a foundation of trust? How do I kick the door open? What steps can I take to rebuild trust with my child? How can I consistently take action? And what words help reestablish trust? And why is trust such a critical element in repairing our parent-child relationship? And many, many other questions along that line I hear all of the time. And the fact is, there are 3 main reasons alienated parents struggle to lay a foundation of trust. And one is they believe they need to fix everything on their own, or they feel like they have to be defensive of false allegations and trying to correct the narrative. Or they believe the children don't want to really reconnect, so they don't try. Or they believe that their children actually hate them, that their child doesn't want a relationship. So many parents slump into a story of unworthiness. And if these things sound familiar, in all of my experience serving and talking to alienated parents, I hear these struggles all of the time. And I hear parents, this group is filled with them, really feeling powerless and seeped in deep pain. And these are only a few of the symptoms of a much greater issue, which is this lack of really a clear pathway forward and a system of getting from point A to point B. And this clear roadmap that we have put together has proven to be helpful for people just like you who want to lay a foundation of trust and really build a relationship of reconnection with their beloved children. And so it's really important that you understand that this is step 6 in our roadmap but it also has some components to it. I'm going to break those down for you today. And this is the Trust Architect module. So let me show you how it works. So the first step, or the first thing that our clients that are on this path have to do in really architecting the container of trust is they have to build a container that shows consistency through your actions, your words, and your behaviors. So alienation is this painful experience for many parents, but also for the children. And it's even more devastating when it involves the loss of contact with all of your children. So when parents are trying to reunite with an alienated child, it really requires them to have patience, dedication, and consistency in their actions, their words, and their behavior. So consistency is key because it really builds trust between you and your child. Consistency means following through on your promises made to your child. And even if the child doesn't comply or the other parent doesn't comply. So for example, if you say you're going to be there on Friday, even if the child doesn't come, you should still show up for your parenting time on Friday. And it's important to be consistent in how you communicate with your child as well. So you want to avoid making negative comments about the other parent or trying to win your favor by trying to defend yourself to the child. This is very debilitating, and it also holds the child at bay. So consistency in the way that you communicate and the way that you are creating a soft place to land, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So we have to be really careful as you are building and you're architecting this trust container with your children that you are consistent and you're avoiding being caught up in the negative he said, she said, or the defense. And instead, you're going to focus on building healthy communication patterns based on mutual respect and understanding. And in addition to being consistent in your actions and communication patterns, you also must demonstrate consistency in your behavior towards your children. So this includes showing up regularly for visits, like I was saying, or scheduled parenting time without fail, whether they come or not. And it also means avoid canceling plans at the last minute, unless, of course, there's an emergency or something that you can't control. So it's a really critical part of demonstrating consistency involves taking responsibility for any past mistakes that you've made, which have led up to this point. So apologizing sincerely without shifting blame onto the other parent, shifting blame onto the child can go a long way towards repairing a broken relationship between you and your child. And it's really important that you're not apologizing for things that you did not do. So we hear a lot of parents that go to therapy and they're in reunification therapy, and which isn't a real mode of therapy, but I'll talk about that later. And they start apologizing for, or they don't apologize because it's a false allegation, and then finally they relent and apologize for things that they didn't do. And neither one of those modes of operandi are productive for you in reuniting. So if you're alienated and you're wanting to reunite with your alienated child, you have to remember that you have to be consistent, and through consistent actions, words, and behaviors over time, a foundation of trust can be built. And this starts to pave the way for healing those old wounds while creating new memories together, even if they're small ones. Which leads to the second step in the Trust Architect, which is where we help our clients really create a safe and comfortable environment for your alienated child. So creating that soft place to land that many parents who've been in the alliance or who have worked with us have heard me say over and over again. It's your responsibility as the chosen parent. And if this is your first time hearing me, the chosen parent is the parent the child is choosing unconsciously to lift the family, including the child, out of the middle of the conflict. Your child knows that you're the parent that is capable, willing and able. You're the parent who's the healthier of the two parents. You're the parent who's willing to go the distance and learn the skills so that you can create the soft place for the child to land. And it's essential to understand that alienation has caused a significant emotional trauma for your child, and they may feel scared or unsure about reconnecting with you. And it's really important to create an atmosphere where your child feels secure enough to open up without any fear of judgment. And I call this allowing your child to empty their proverbial trash can, if you will, and allowing them to give you the trash that you can take out. So as we create that soft place to land for the alienated child, being patient and understanding is important, and not taking things personally. Your child may have developed negative feelings toward you due to the manipulation of the other parent. So it's important to not push them into your narrative or hearing your side of the story. You want to give them the time and space as they gradually become more comfortable around you. So this does not mean waiting for them to come around someday. This is step 6 in the Reconnect program. So you're building a foundation of trust. Okay. So another way of doing this is by listening actively when they speak, even if it's in text messages, allowing them to express their emotions freely without interruption or invalidating them from your side or your perspective, like I was just talking about. So by doing this, you're actually demonstrating that their feelings matter to you and that they can trust you with their thoughts and their feelings. It's vital to make sure that there are no distractions when you are meeting with your child. So for those of you who have clients that have kicked the door open and they're now starting to see their children, maybe they're meeting for dinner or lunch or even in a therapy session. So it's important to stay focused on your child. And if you're not in therapy, make sure that your phone is put away, that you're not distracted by something outside of what's in front of you, your child. And so you want to create that safe haven for the child, the alienated child, and to fold back in. And it does require your patience and your understanding and your active listening, not just with your ears, but also with your heart and your intuition, along with providing your undivided attention. So when you're in these conversations, even if they're fleeting, that you're giving the child a display of consistency in your words, in your actions, and your presence. And then the last step in the trust architect system is really learning how those who are successful can actually be transparent and honest in your efforts to rebuild trust. So as you're creating this safe and comfortable environment for an alienated child, it's really crucial to their healing process that you also are being transparent and honest. Now, that does not mean you air all of the laundry of what's happening or start defending yourself or projecting your side of the story. Okay, that is not what I'm talking about. Oftentimes, alienation can cause emotional distress, anxiety, depression, leads to drugs and alcohol abuse for both the parent and the children. So, especially older teens. So, it's important for parents to really create that soft space or that soft place for the alienated child to land. And this means providing them the space that feels secure and welcoming. And so, as you're creating this environment by maintaining this consistency in your action, in your words, your behavior towards your child, they need this stability during this time of turmoil. So, they'll feel more at ease when they know what to expect from you. So you want to show up on time. You want to make sure that you're present. They have your undivided presence when you're meeting with them, especially for those of you that are starting to kick that door open. And then another way of creating comfort for your alienated child is by being empathetic towards them. You want to listen when they speak without interrupting or judging them harshly. You want to try to understand their perspective, even if you don't agree with everything that they're saying. So this is essential to avoid these negative comments about the other parent, which may cause further friction or fuel conflict between you and your child and makes things harder for your child, who will feel caught in the middle. So the trust architect system really provides guidance on how you as a parent can rebuild trust with your alienated children successfully. So it emphasizes transparency and honesty as a key component of the reunification or reconciliation efforts. And so, as a parent, you have to acknowledge your past mistakes openly while showing genuine remorse over any harm caused by those actions or behaviors that may have contributed to the alienation of your child. I'll give a really good example here. I have a client who was in a domestic abuse situation, and she left the situation. And when she left, I mean, she left by the skin of her teeth. She like crawled out of the situation, and the husband captured the children. And we see this a lot. But in this particular case that I'm sharing with you, this mom remained alienated from her children for decades. And they were young adults when she started working with me. And she'd worked with a lot of experts in the space for a long time with a lot of people. And she finally hired us and she worked with us. And one of the things that she was really stuck on is the story, right? That dad was abusive and that it wasn't her. And they were really stuck in the story. They felt abandoned by her. And, that she had left the family. And it was really hard for her to let go of that story. And it was really hard for them to let go of their story. And I remember working with her and I asked her one day, what are you gaining by holding on to that story? And then what are you losing by holding on to that story? And what do you want? And when she was able to shift her perspective of the story, and she took responsibility for leaving, however it was that she left, there was a shift in her relationship with her children. At first, they were a little bewildered, like, what's going on? But she had held on to that story for so long. She was so entrenched in needing to be right and to show her children that she couldn't get out of her own way until she shifted. And she decided to have a meal with one of her children, her oldest child, who was really caustic. I mean, I read a lot of messages from this child. They were really terrible, and like many of you probably have received. And she had shifted how she was showing up, and she became empathetic to her child's experience, and she took responsibility for the abandonment because she did leave. So while in her mind she didn't abandon her children and the father was alienating, just being able to take responsibility for leaving and abandoning her children, at least the understanding from their perspective, it caused a shift in the relationship that allowed her children to fold back in one at a time very quickly. And she still to this day, this was a couple of years ago, has a relationship with all of her children, and they still have a relationship with their dad. Okay. So this is an example I want to give you of when we have our belief system and we anchor into them, we can make it really challenging for our children to fold back in. Now, this does not mean to focus on the mistakes or apologize for things that you didn't do. However, there is never just one way you ended up here, and the child knows that you are the one who is leading the family out of the pathology. They have chosen you. May not feel like it, but they've chosen you as the chosen parent because they know that if you are consistent and steady in showing up and creating the foundation of trust, that you're the one who's going to lift the family out of the pathology, that you're going to lift the children out of the middle. And if you haven't been doing that, and this feels familiar to you, what I was sharing with you, then this module in really learning how to architect trust with your children is critically important. So when you learn how to successfully reunify with your children, and you take the proper reunification efforts and steps and follow a process, then you can really architect a system that's built on the foundation of understanding and empathy. And following the step-by-step process, you can gain insight in how the best practices of this work will help you achieve the success in restoring the relationship that you want to have with your alienated children. Again, this is just step 6 in the Reconnect program. So the Alienated Parents Reunification Roadmap coaching program is the clearest and most predictable and proven system for anyone serious about doing what it takes to achieve reunification goals, heal from the emotional trauma, and reunite with your alienated children for once and for all. So we are launching a live, I know this is a live, but we're actually launching a deeper study with each step. Next Tuesday is the first live module. So we'll be starting with phase 1. So if this is your first video, I'll just show you there's 3 phases to the program. And phase 1 is self-reflection. And we'll utilize the first lesson, and that will be the alienation decoder. And in this system, it really helps parents like you fully understand the pathology known as parental alienation in a simple way. And then more importantly, what to do about it. So how to communicate about this pathology, the alienation, parental alienation that you're experiencing. We're going to decode it for you and give you language that you can actually use in all of the different environments, talking with your family, even talking with your children without saying parental alienation, talking with the professionals working with your family. So the alienation decoder is the first module that we're going to dive into. And we're going to cover each one of these one a week until we are finished. But we're going to do one a week. And then the 4th week, we are going to do a live coaching session. So I'll be teaching for a few hours the actual alienation decoder. And then I'll move into the emotional regulator, which we've talked about already in one of these Facebook Lives, and we're going to help you evaluate your personal emotions and then how to take proactive action quickly. And then after that, we'll go into the embracing your responsibility for change through the responsibility pledge framework. So each one of these workshops, each one of these steps is a workshop where we will be going deeply into each step. So each one has a framework that you can follow that feeds into the next one. And right now I'm talking today about the trust architect. So once we finish the first module, we will go into a live coaching call where I'll be doing love seats, where I'll be guiding you through your frameworks in the first 3 lessons. And then we'll start in February on rebuilding trust. And the first one is the conscious communication masterclass process. So we'll ensure success in communication with honest, assertive communication skills. And it's one of the core mechanisms of really building resiliency and managing stress. So we'll do that with the resiliency builder. And then the last step in the rebuilding trust stage is the one I'm talking about today, which is the trust architect process. And that shows you how to lay the foundation. I've talked high level about that today, each and every day, like clockwork. So this is really critical. And many parents miss this step. They are not consistent and they wonder why their child is not coming around. And I'll help you get crystal clear on what to do, how to do it, and when to do it so that you can build a foundation of trust, which all deep bonds resurface when we have the trust architect in place. And then we'll do another live. All these are live. I'll be teaching live, and then we'll be doing another live coaching call where we will dive deeply into your specifics in the coaching call and the group coaching call. And then we will move on to the final phase in the Reconnect program, which is the persistency phase. So once we have your self-reflection and we've building trust in place, then we'll kick off the persistent stage by really building out your reconnection initiator system, which really allows you to initiate low pressure reconnection fast. So one of the biggest mistakes I see alienated parents make is the door gets kicked open and then they pounce and then they struggle because the child disappears again. So with the reconnection initiator, we're going to teach you in this system how to really create and initiate a low pressure reconnection plan. And then we will help you leverage your professional support. This unique model really is called the professional ally for a reason. So we get a lot of calls and emails from people asking for referrals. And, we don't really make referrals for a lawyer or a therapist who can do this assessment and all of these things. But we can do one better in this module because we cover how to get the professionals that you're already working with, that are working with your family, to do the work properly, and how to get them to ally with you, to see what's happening with your family and to actually help, versus what a lot of them are doing right now, which is not helping and oftentimes making matters worse. So many health professionals, they're clueless on how to help alienated parents and alienated children, even the ones who call themselves reunification therapists. There's no such thing as reunification therapy. So many parents make many mistakes here, and they take the wrong approach. And instead of allying the professionals, they scare them off or they turn them against them. And so now you're in a deeper hole. And then the final step of the Reconnect program is the patience, is learning how to cultivate patience and perseverance to achieve your reunification by the persistence compass system. So again, each step is its own system, and each step feeds into the next step in the Reconnect roadmap. And you may find yourself in one of these steps already, or maybe stuck in a couple of them. But it really takes you through a beautiful process that we use that helps our clients recover their relationship with their alienated children swiftly, smoothly, and quickly. Because time is of the essence. Time is not on your side. Waiting around for your child to come around someday is not going to recover your alienated child. The goal of the Reconnect program is to help you by empowering you with the skills, systems, step-by-step process, the tools that you need to actually recover your own child and to use the resources and the people that you're working with now. So if you want to get crystal clear on the exact steps that you should be following right now to achieve your reunification goals, then I suggest clicking the link and booking a call to speak with one of the people on my team. On that call, they'll get crystal clear on what's really holding you back, and then we'll map out your step-by-step strategy so that you can follow it to achieve your reunification goals with confidence in the next 90 days. Lastly, we'll decide if you would be a good fit for the Reconnect program, the Alienated Parents Reunification Roadmap Coaching Program. Just know that this is only for you if you're the type of person who is committed to healing and improving your relationship with your alienated child. You're open to seeking professional guidance and support. You're willing to follow a process that works, that's a proven strategy that's worked over and over and over again. And you're ready to invest and make a lifelong change for the sake of recovering your child and resurfacing your unbreakable bond. And if that's you, then click the link below, schedule a free strategy session, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. Also, if you're watching this in the Alliance and you have not been assigned a concierge, then post in the comments hashtag concierge, and we will get somebody assigned to you. We've shifted things in the Alliance, and you're going to start to see more content from us in the Alliance, and we are assigning everybody. It's a very big group, so we're assigning people a concierge, somebody who is your support person in the Alliance to guide you to your best next move. So thank you so much for joining today. And for those of you that have already enrolled in Reconnect, welcome. We're super excited about guiding you through this next part of your journey and providing you with the skills and tools you need to reunite with your alienated children. And for those of you who are following along in the Alliance, next week we are going to dive into the high level of the Reconnection Initiator. So thanks again for listening. Have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.